Hello, this is Quicksilver Slash, and I was just playing some World Warships and had an absolutely amazing game in my Konigsberg that I felt I just needed to share right away. So this is going to be that game. Playing on Big Race Standard Battle. It's a Tier 5 game, and I have always loved this ship. It has only gotten better since the patch that allowed the turrets to rotate 360 degrees on ships where it was possible, and the Konigsberg is one of those ships that's possible. That ability for those turrets to rotate 360 makes this so much more flexible. You can approach something and weave and keep your turrets firing, whereas before they would have to do that full 180 and it took a lot of your firepower out of it. So right off the start, I head straight north to the very northeastern corner, which is always a conflicted zone, find a Yubari, and I start engaging. And you can see I turn away, keeping 60% of my firepower firing and allowing the enemies to come to me rather than chasing them down. If I had gone blitzing around that corner, I can guarantee you I would have died. But instead, I've already got 10,000 damage into a Yubari, and I just continue to fire, lighting them on fire. For my Konigsberg, the captain currently has a 4th tier skill, and should come as no surprise, I've given him Demolition Expert. With the rate of fire and the smaller caliber shells, I just feel that extra fire chance is a must. So I'm now focusing on a Gremnashki, letting that Yubari drive off. He's on fire, he's not shooting at me, he isn't the current threat. And that's something you have to do when playing ships, is you've got to engage the current threats. You can't focus on something that isn't going to hurt you just because it might be a kill. So I've decided to switch over to this Murmansk, fire one volley of HE, take about 3,000 damage, and here is the reason I love this ship. 20,000 damage, 4 citadels into one Murmansk. A couple seconds later I already have another volley, and I do the same thing to the next one, just about 16,000 damage. When equal tier cruisers, even some of the higher tier light cruisers, give you their sides, you can absolutely just wreck them. And in just a short amount of time, I've already racked up 62,000 damage. This Gremnashki's firing at me from the smoke, and unfortunately, even with Hydro activated, I can't detect him. But at least I'm going to get a chance to see the torpedoes before they get to me. And now I've got to start dodging some friendly torpedoes. My ally is actually a little lucky that I saw those. I've seen far too many people fire torpedoes across the bow of a friendly to just absolutely ace in a friendly. I don't know why our Konigsberg felt the need to fire those torps there. He was well out of his range from anything he could have hit, and it only threatened me. Anyways, you can see that Gremnashki popping in and out of detection. I'm keeping my guns ready, back on HE, just waiting for his smoke to dissipate. There it goes. So I start opening fire on him. And I'm trying to open range right now because I took a couple big hits. And I don't want to throw my health away to those pair of battleships. I managed to knock the Gremnashki's engines out, light him on fire. He quickly repairs. So now I know anything I do to him is going to stick. I switch fire to this Wyoming with the Gremmy going behind that island and not really feeling I had a high percentage chance at hitting him. So I want to keep my guns firing, keep the damage going. So I'm trying to light this Wyoming on fire. He may be a tier 4, but he has a lot of turrets and can do a lot of damage, particularly to a cruiser like me. So right now my thought is I'm going to round the south of this island and kind of use it to block the incoming fire from that Wyoming and Myogi, and that's when a Karlsruhe shows up in front of me. Now, I don't notice him until his first rounds start bouncing around me, and then I quickly look. And this is where I make a decision that I feel is actually a pretty big one in how this game came to play out. I throw my ship into reverse. The Karlsruhe only has a 10.6 kilometer range on its stock guns, and based on where his shells are landing, I think I am right on the edge of his firing range. So my plan is back up, keep him from being able to close and really bring his guns to bear on me, and continue to put supporting fire in on this Myogi. as I start to turn, that's when I bring my turrets around, when I can get everything firing at this Karlsruhe. And with him nose on, I'm going to be using HE. There's a chance I could get a lucky pen with AP, but I'd rather do the consistent damage of HE, get the modules, break his guns, set him on fire. To me, that is why I like HE in these rapid-fire ships. It's not necessarily about the fire. It's all the incapacitations you can bring on a ship. I throw my torpedoes off. Never know, if he drives straight at them, I could get a lucky hit. And I had the time between reloads, and then I just keep firing, and I'm opening. I can see in the south that a couple destroyers are pressing on our cap, and with the way I've got this ship equipped, I'm built to hunt destroyers. So you can see, I'm now safe. I've got islands between really anything that can do a lot of damage to me. And that Gremyashki comes into view, so I'm just going to continue to fire at the smoke for now. I do a shoulder check to see what that destroyer in the south is doing. He has 9 hit points. I'm not too worried about going after him. Our carrier's got him on lockdown right now. But when he starts opening fire on our carrier, that's when I turn and just decide to support. This isn't a kill I really earned, but it's a kill I'll take, and it protects our carrier, which in these low-tier games, a top-tier carrier, they can often do a lot of damage, and you'll see that from me. The number of times the enemy carrier, the Bogue, flew his planes and fighters over me, I still don't have a single plane shot down. And you'll see by the end of this game, I've only got a pair the whole game. So at these lower tiers, carriers can be a little reckless and they can really do the damage. But my attention is drawn off the Isakaze by this Karlsruhe that continues to close. And I continue to just try to shell him, light him on fire, break his modules. I've got a fire burning on him. Shells are hitting. There's another fire. At this point, he's pretty much done. 1 or 2 volleys, and he won't be a problem anymore. Our carrier has plenty of hit points still. I don't need to worry too much. There goes the final volley. He's dead. I'm up to 4 kills, 96,000 damage. I've had hydroacoustic active because I knew that Isakaze was there and I wanted to know if his torps were coming for me. And this isn't even fair. Tier 5 cruiser this close to a destroyer. He can't even really do anything to me. He's not tracking his guns. I think he's still focused on trying to get more torps off at our carrier, and I make quick work of him. So with our cap once again secured, I begin to turn to head back to the north. I just did a little jank there in case he got one more set of torpedoes in the water. Had I been paying a little closer attention, I would have seen his guns weren't coming to me, and the guns do always track with the torpedo tubes, so it's a useful way to know what a destroyer is doing and who he's firing the torpedoes at, because one quick look at his guns and you'll see whereabouts he's aiming his torpedoes. Becomes even more obvious against the high rate of fire destroyers like the Americans and Russians, because when there's a break in that incoming fire, you know they're aiming torpedoes and you can look exactly where that is. So I'm going back to putting shells on this low health enemy Wyoming, just firing HE at long range, hoping to hit. First volley went long. Second volley is going to connect a couple rounds. And I'm hoping for this third one to finish him. Sadly, leaves him on 124 hit points, so that's a kill I'm not going to get. But friendly carrier finishes him off, and really I don't know that I would have earned that kill. It would have been more a steal from some friendly players, but I'm just trying to help, because what I see on the map right now is 2 friendly battleships versus 2 enemy battleships. It doesn't clue in to me right now that that Wyoming is probably AFK based on his position on the map. So I was still playing very cautious, and you'll see the route I take and where I go. I'm trying to ensure only one of them ever has a line at shooting me. So I begin supporting teammates with this enemy Myogi. See the friendly battleships putting some pretty big shots in. I am keeping my range because I see those Myogi's guns pointing at me. I think in his mind, 4,000 hit point tier 5 cruiser, it's an easy kill. I see his guns fire, rudder's already over, making sure I've changed my course from where I was, and he misses by a couple ship lengths. One of the friendly battleships finishes him off, so I turn back to the north to start pressing on Michael the Destroyer and his Wyoming and that enemy Bogue. I'm already at 5 kills, 113 damage, 10 fires, and these aren't uncommon games for me in a Konigsberg. I've got a number of Krakens in this ship, but just the nature of this game felt amazing, and I haven't had a great game like this in a while. So I was bouncing, low health. I was jumping up and down in my chair as I was playing this game just because I didn't want to die. Had I died to that Karlsruhe earlier, this wouldn't have been that good a game, and I really wanted to share those citadels I got on that pair of Murmansks. And you can see, once again, that enemy carrier, he's got his planes hovering over me. I put my catapult fighter in the air, and I'm doing nothing to them. And that's really tier 5, that's the case. He even flies his ships back over me to try to keep me spotted, and ends up engaging my fighter. I think he's just hoping for the little bit of extra experience, realizing this one's probably over because his only remaining teammate's AFK. But still doesn't clue into me. I'm still afraid of that Wyoming. And you never know. I've seen players sit and show up at the last minute to win a game because everyone just assumes they're AFK. And it could have happened here. But in reality, this game is all but over. Start putting fire into that Bogue. Wyoming comes into sight. I lead the shells a bit, and you'll see they all miss. So I lead them again. And part of the issue here was with him burning, I couldn't see his smokestacks. I didn't know what he was doing. And it should have been now that it became obvious that he was AFK. But it wasn't until one of the enemy players said, "Can't believe you guys are all missing so many shots on an AFK ship," that it's like, oh, just got to aim straight at him. And there's that enemy player. He's sitting still AFK and you're missing so much. Sad. Well, not going to miss anymore. And at this point, it's 10,000 free HP for my team to eat. And you can see, even with Demolition Expert, your odds at fire with this ship aren't super high. 200 shells, only 11 fires. You know, it's working out to about 1 in every 20 shells. So about every other volley, on average, I've been lighting a fire. And in other games, when you're able to just sit at range and fire at battleships, you can really wreak havoc. But this point, this Bogue is easy damage, putting the citadels into him. One more volley and this game is going to be over. And there you have it. On to post-game. Look at this. 500,000 credits, 5,700 experience, Confederate, Kraken, Devastating Strike, High Caliber. I did 135,000 damage with 240 shells. Only shot down 2 of those planes, 11 incapacitations, 7 kills, 11 fires, 12 citadels, and oh my god, just what I did to that Murmansk. Full health to nothing in 1 volley. And it should be no surprise that I topped the team with nearly 2,500 base experience. And just look at that detailed report. I feel so bad for what I did to those Murmansk, but it's what the Konigsberg can do and why I adore this ship and can't wait for the German battleships to come out, because I love the line. I love the calibers of guns they've running, and if the cruisers and the turrets are any indication of what the rest of that line is going to be like, I'm going to be in love. And look at the credit breakdown. After all my costs and stuff, still walking away with just shy of 500,000 credits, and I put almost 8,000 experience on my commander. This commander exists only for my Konigsberg. I moved the better one up and I started retraining him, and he's already got 4 skill points and quickly climbing toward a 5th tier skill. And I hope you guys enjoyed this bonus video, and give me a like if you enjoyed it. It does actually help me out. I'm learning a little more about how all the YouTube stuff works, and I'm going to have a World of Tanks video for you tomorrow.